Look, big mansion, big limits.
What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. It is another week with She Evolves. And I know I've been MIA for a minute, but I had to take that break, had to step back for a minute. And if you all viewed last week, well, you know what? No, I'm lying. It wasn't even last week, but it was just past Saturday where we kind of just hit on self care and just taking that time to fall back. So that's what it was. We just kind of falling back a little bit. So we're going to actually kick this off. And like I said, this is another Thursday. And we are live. I changed the time, so I will be live now every Thursday at 6 o'clock, opposed to 5 o'clock. But if you're following me, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I am Ivy Nicole, Nicholle, y'all. Don't forget the H. And there's no E in my first name. It's just straight up IVY. It is Women History Month. So I think it's only right to actually kind of kick this thing off into what this really looks like. What is Women's History Month about? And for me, I always celebrate the evolution of a woman, what that means, what it looks like, just from different angles, different perspectives. Um, but today, there's always the misconception in the concept of what are we doing as women and how are we evolving into a relationship. Are we more desirable or less desirable now that we're able to really make money and get our own bag? And it's always the whole "I don't need a man" theory concept. But of course, as a woman, we need a man, but we didn't need a man the way that my grandma needed a man, because this is a whole new day, a new time. So again, when it's always something about relationships, I always got Kevin Dunn. Say what's up for those that don't know you. Just
What
kind
up, though? What up,
of let them
though?
know
I
who you are.
appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, Miss Ivy Nicole. It's always a pleasure. What up, everybody? My name is Kevin. I'm grateful to be here. Again, I appreciate the invite, having me on. Shout out to all my people in the city, Detroit. All my people in Inkster. What's good, everybody? Hope y'all doing all right out there. Just grateful to be here, representing on behalf of Mirror Image Media, my company. And, just it's always good to have these conversations, pertaining to relationships and whatnot. Shout out to all the brothers and sisters out there, who tap in and really about being constructive and productive when it comes to these types of conversations and just being better individuals. I'm all for that self care, and also you said, woman's history month. It's kind of something that I'm new to, but hey, shout out to all the strong women out there, holding it down, doing their thing, you know. Um, I'm just grateful to be here, I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, I'm playing around with this thing. I'm a little distracted, just a little bit, because I don't know why like our names aren't showing up for whatever reason.
Okay.
But you know what? Whatever. We just got to keep this thing going. So when we're talking about the evolution of a woman, and you know, single and happy is kind of my theme song from Cash Down.
Yeah.
And as ratchet as the lyrics may be, it is what it is. She said, "I got my own bag, but I still want you to spoil me," right? So
Mm,
for me, it kind of means that even though that I'm able to get my own bag, I'm able to make my own money, and live independently. It doesn't give you a pass for being a man and being a gentleman,
mm,
because I still require to be courted.
mm-hmm.
That is a requirement.
Okay.
But then, we always talk about the difference between tradition and modern. So I did pose the question like, so what's up in this modern day world? Um, can traditional values still exist? Can you be traditional and modern?
Mm. Yeah, hey, well, that's a good question. You know, I would say, in short, I don't think it's possible, to be honest, because when you say traditional, what I'm thinking about as far as it pertains to women and men or relationships, traditional, I think most people as well will probably concur, but you think of like the old school way of doing things, like you mentioned your grandparents, how the way, they pretty much conducted their relationships, and they were all for marriage and like you mentioned as well, courting. They used that term back in the day. I don't know how much is used now, but we get it. But yeah, it was needless to say, that was a different time. But in a nutshell, I don't think it's possible to have those same traditions. Like you can't have a 1950s type of domestic security with a 2022 attitude and lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems like sometimes women will want to have all the perks of a stay-at-home wife without the standards, the expectations, or the fundamentals of such. It's like what gives, you know what I'm saying? If you want that type of, lifestyle, you have to discern and distinguish for yourself if that's what you really want. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and that could apply for a male or female, but if we talking about females, I think it would be imperative for that woman to differentiate
Mm-hmm.
what it is they really want. Is that the type of lifestyle they want? Like, or are you gonna remain, independent and do everything on your own? So yeah, I would say in a nutshell, if it's possible to have the traditional, type of lifestyle today, I would say no. I mean,
You don't
that
think it's possible?
yeah, I don't think it's possible. I mean, you have to, again, redetermine well that excuse me, what that tradition looks like, compared to today. It's totally different. Everything is different. I don't think you could apply those same fundamentals to today.
No, you know what? You cannot, compare those same fundamentals today. Because you look at 100 years ago, we women just gained their right to vote. You
Mhm.
know, the women's suffrage movement, 1920. So we just reached our 100th year mark back 2 years ago that we even had the right to vote, let alone the ability and the capability to actually go to school, go to Ivy League schools, and be in corporate America. Even though we're still not where we should be or where we want to be today, because we still have so much further to go. But we still have that option. We're still able to get the bag. We don't have to stay in the kitchen and have babies, and we don't have to do that anymore.
Mhm.
We have options. So, when you're talking about the relationships, marriage, children, it's almost as if like, why would I? Give
Mhm.
me a reason, make me an offer that I can't refuse.
Mhm.
Because if when you look at 100 years ago, you know, you had very limited options. It's a
Mhm.
matter of, it's survival of the fitness.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's definitely survival of the fittest, but
Yeah.
it's also it was I believe it was a different mindset as well. Obviously, if you look back, and I talked to my own grandparents and my own people about things like this. I gone through situations and relationships where I talk to my people, the elders, and ask them like, "What's up?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are the differences and whatnot from then to the women today? And there are some differences, and some things have been constant, but I see it
Oh,
like
what's constant about the women then and the women now? What was constant? What's the what's the
I
same?
would say I would say one thing that has been constant, even though it's been contradicted as well in some ways, but I would say the need for security, that stability that they expect from a man in that regard, like that has been a constant. But I think the wants are what have changed. Like what women want has changed. You spoke on the whole women's empowerment movement and women kind of becoming like independent in so many ways. I think that is what has changed. um and perhaps you can speak more to that. I'm not a woman. I don't know nothing about that struggle. I've seen it. It's something that we see, it's very prevalent in our society today. A lot of women want to uh go for like a equal status of sorts. And I like that's another thing that is kind of like I don't see it as like an equal thing. And it's not to be demeaning, but it's two totally different things that's not really equipped to be an equal type of situation. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that has pretty much left. I mean, when females sought to compete in the workforce with men, like to be on that same level, then
Mhm.
the equal status is gone at that point, you know?
But and I think like that's the debate. Like I can't speak on all fields, but like in my field, I'm in social work. Um, so I mean, I can honestly say boldly and with confidence that I'm a lot smarter than most men in my field, right?
Mm,
So, but in this workforce, typically women are making less than men.
mm,
But if we're doing the same job, we have the same education. Why is it because you're part of the male species that you think you should make more than me? And then well, not you per se, but just like men still have the dominant attitude, like, yeah, I still want you to submit to me. Yeah, absolutely not.
mm,
Because it's the constant battle between men and women. But then again, it's a lot of insecure men that don't get it. They don't understand the concept of what a strong woman is and how to represent her correctly.
mm. Well, I mean, you also have to consider the fact too that if you talk about traditions, I mean, look at who the employers were. Look at who is actually employing you. Look at where you're going to get this education from. It's dominated by males. The system, they set the system up that way, so it's like you have to take that into consideration as well. I mean, that's just a fact. Just look at history. Look at the way it's been set up. That's
Right.
pretty much the way it's designed. It's like that's when you get into the whole, patriarchy type of, deal as well. But yeah, it's like it's been set up that way. Hell, white supremacy, they set it up that way. I mean, that's what it is at this point. I mean, we've only now gotten to, and this is the good thing, that now we've getting to a point where you seeing more people like us developing and creating their own businesses, legit. It's almost become a trend, and some succeed, some fail, but it's good that we've been getting to this point where we creating our own businesses and generating incomes for ourselves outside the workforce, the typical workforce that we've been accustomed to, being on that treadmill and punching in on somebody else's clock. At this point, again, that's a good thing for a male or female, especially our kind, being black men and women, to create our own, because that is what true independence is, and true sovereignty, creating your own. That's really the only way to get it for real at the end of the day, you know.
I do want to go back a little, what you said a little few minutes ago.
Hmm.
You said something to the fact like, the workforce and, these Ivy League schools or whatever, they're pretty much dominated, by white men, right? So
Hmm.
here you are, here I am as a woman. I come into the workforce, into this corporate America space, and because I'm a woman, I'm automatically, expected to submit in a certain type of way, right? I'm gonna just follow your lead and do what you do, or do what you say do, or whatever. Pretty much just look you to shut up and do your job, and accept what it is that you give me. But I think, now when we're actually talking about relationships in
Hmm.
this part, it's almost like women today, we have this attitude and this mentality like, I be damned if I'm going to go to work and
Hmm.
be expected to be submissive, and then I'm going to come home and expected to be submissive.
Hmm.
Like, something got to give, you know. But it's like, so I'm asking you, like, from a man's perspective, is it like a point in time where like men are kind of like intimidated by the success of a woman? Now, I don't want to get into like the successful woman, because, every woman views and perceives success differently. Everybody perceives success differently. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm talking about just the success of a woman, to be able to come in and be like, okay, boo, I got you. I see you doing your thing, but I'm going to still be the provider because I'm a man, and still allow the modern woman to be who she is, and not expect her to just submit all the way, because we're not going to do that.
Well, yeah. Well, and that's something that it it pertains to, and we kind of touched on it before, the distinguishing between what you want and what you need. Now, in that sense, yeah, a man is expected to step up to provide for a woman ultimately, nothing wrong with that. However, when it comes to a point when the woman has established herself in a certain way, she may be accustomed to doing things on her own or whatever the case, being independent, that's fine. But when it comes to getting into a relationship, if you carry that same attitude to the relationship, it's not so much as intimidation to a man. I think a man really ain't going, a man ain't, we not about to fight with you. If that's what you want, if you're not willing to submit and work along with me, like we not about to fight. It's just not gonna happen. Like, it's, most of the time men just gonna be like, okay, like I'm not about to do this with you. Like the relationship probably ain't gonna work if
Mhm.
that's the case. It's always gonna be a power struggle if a woman is not willing to, take that, or adjust her attitude, even though that's what she may have come from, having to do her own thing and get to that level, and work hard to get to that level. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, that's something that she would have to take into consideration of adjusting if she wants to be in a relationship with a man that is providing and wants to, has the desire to, and has the competence to do that, a woman has to be willing to compromise if she wants to be taken care of in that sense.
You know what? So this is interesting, right?
Hmm.
Because like I totally agree with you 100%.
Hmm.
But a lot of times, and oftentimes, the problem is that um it's a lot of F boys out here,
Hmm.
right? So it's a matter of give me a reason to submit, give me something to submit to. Um,
Hmm.
because if I meet a guy and you're successful, I'm successful, I'm doing my thing, whatever, and it's a power struggle between us. For me, that's a turn off.
Hmm.
Because it's like, okay, so you're not going to support what it is I do. You're not going to support my dreams because you want to be the alpha male all the way around, um, and just kind of dismissing any and everything that I worked for and
Hmm.
continuing to work for. So that type of situation is a no go.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
you
and
always like
rightfully
you
so.
gotta understand the assignment, because if you come in and you're just like, okay, I'm gonna take care of you, but in order for me to take care of you, you got to give up everything. That's not an option. You know,
Yeah.
so when I talk about the levels of submission and being able to, I think submission and respect goes hand in hand. A woman will not and cannot submit to a man that she does not respect. So you got
Hmm.
the F boys, the narcissists, um, you don't get submitted to.
Hmm. And that's a good point too, because I believe there's a misconception with that, as it pertains to, being taken care of, because and submission as well, because again, we ain't in the 1950s. Like a woman, okay, if we in a relationship and we both successful, then hey, you can keep working too. Like, don't just think you just gonna sit at home and be cute all day. If it's things that you want to do, like, stuff is gonna be taken care of. But if you want to uphold, your position, or your independence or whatever, well, then you're gonna have to keep working in. The full submission and letting everything go comes with, okay, when a woman is expecting that from her man, like he is competent enough, he has things taken care of, you don't have to worry about no bills or nothing like that. I believe that's where that comes into play. But again, it's a big misconception, I feel like, we have at large when it comes to submission and that definition, and that's something that has to be straightened out as well. You made a good point when it comes to respect as well, because that's like first and foremost,
Mhm.
with any relationship, that should be, that's like, that should be considered a fundamental right there, because relationship ain't gonna go far if you ain't got respect, and that goes both ways. So yeah, that's the whole definition of submission has to be clearly defined amongst, and it has to be specific to that relationship, because everybody, each man and woman's relationship is going to be different. Everybody's relationship is going to be different, because you're dealing with different people, needless to say. So it's going to be different terms and conditions of that, but I do think it's very important, again, to establish the fundamentals, before you even get to that level. Expectations. What are your expectations? I encourage this a lot, especially for people that's kind of like dating or getting to know, a new person. Like, those expectations, even though you in the first impression stage and you all cutesy and all of that, it's still very important to establish what your expectations are, male or female. It's very important. Excuse me. It's very important to establish that, like, right away. That way ain't nobody wasting their time. You know who you dealing with. You know what they expect from you, and vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah, that is absolutely right. You know, like when you're meeting someone, you do want to take that time out to actually get to know that person, know what it is that that person wants.
Yeah.
So, but just the whole overall development and the evolution of a woman, when we're talking about just empowering ourselves and empowering each other,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, you do want to say, like, hey, listen, I can survive with or without a man present, right? And that's the most important thing, is to be able to say, if I want it back, I can go and get it. I don't have to wait on someone to provide for me. Of course, you know, those things are nice. It's important when a man has the ability to provide versus I'm going in with the expectation that you have to provide.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good point. I think it's that's a sticky one right there though, because a lot of women do say, well, oh, I don't need a man, I can do it on my own. Yeah, you can survive on your own. It's going to be harder, because as a man, we are more physically adapted. We're more physically inept to work and to labor for extended periods of time. Women naturally, and it's not to talk down on women, but it's not the same thing with women. At a certain point you might get burned out, whereas the men, we have the physical endurance and things of that nature. That's what makes us unique as men to women. It's not the same thing. So, and I also think though, it's a and I gotta say, big shout out to the new black media, uh PBT, TBA, because they make a great point. TBA made a great point on double standards. It's a double standard of productivity that is applied when it comes to men and women. What women expect from men as opposed to what men expect from women. It's a major double standard there. And by definition, a double standard is basically a rule or principle which is unfairly applied in different ways to different people or groups. That's what a double standard is by definition. And
Mm-hmm.
again, we talked about establishing your wants versus your needs. A lot of times it's like it's a lot of you know people use these terms like average or high value and all of that, and it's
Oh,
like,
let's get into that. What is average and high value? What is that? What does that?
well well yeah, and these are terms that a lot of people, I think, are now coming to grips to as they're applying it to others. But you got to take it back, like, okay, so average is pretty much like your day-to-day person. You may work a regular 9 to 5, regular employer, labor, whatever. That's male or female. Now, when you get into above average, that may be a person who is pretty much running the show. They are established in a way to where they're the one in charge of a business. They may have a yearly or monthly salary. They not going from check to check,
Mm-hmm.
bi-weekly or weekly, like you would compare average person. I think in a nutshell, that's sort of like how people distinguish between the two, if that's safe to say. That's the way I see it anyway. And again, that can apply for male or female, but that's the difference between average or above average or quote unquote high value, as they put it. I don't really care for those terms, but it is what it
Now we
is.
getting into the whole Kevin Samuels debate.
Oh. Yeah, I
Right?
suppose.
So now we're getting into like the Kevin Samuels conversation, right?
uh,
Where he talks about, the high value man, right? This man that
mhm,
makes six plus figures, right?
mhm,
And what it is that he's looking for, but at the end of the day, he always says like the goal is to get married, right?
mhm,
And for black couples to actually be engaged with each other, um, develop love, get married, have children, this American dream type of shit, right?
mhm,
So, but in today's society, when you have, you know, the boss chick, is she getting married, or do she think that I can do it all myself and
mhm,
I don't need a man? Ain't no man gonna tell me what to do because I'm getting the bag. Even though, yes, like I said, that's great, but then you kind of flip it over to Maslow. The hierarchy of needs. He says that human beings need intimacy and love,
mhm,
meaning that it is healthy for individuals to be in intimate relationships outside of family, friends, and colleagues.
mhm. Yeah, and it's levels to that to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's a good model. I think he got that from somebody too, technically, but it is a good model for basically understanding from the bottom your basic needs to at the top reaching your fullest potential, being creative and all of that. It's a good model for sure, that we can apply as it pertains to people. But I look at it, I don't subscribe to that individual Samuels. I don't subscribe to
I
him
do because he's
particularly, but
funny.
he definitely, you see a lot of his videos or people reacting to his comments or whatever. But the way I look at it, um, it's a lot of misconceptions, and expectations are set way too high for people. Like, so it seems like it's a lot of I would say it's a lot of average women expecting to court with or get married to a quote unquote high value or above average man. And it's like, it's a fallacy within that whole mindset, because how do you just come to the table average with all the issues you may possess or whatever the case, and expect a high level of treatment and security? It's like it's something off. Something is missing. It's kind of like you skipping a step.
So I'm gonna break that down. So that's the gold digger perspective. That's the whole gold digging model. And it's a fine line between being a captive save a hoe and being a provider, right?
Yeah.
Because oftentimes women they get in the game and they think that I'm gonna score one, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna find a man um to take care of me for the rest of my life, and all I have to do is just be pretty, right?
Mm.
And I believe, it correct me if I'm wrong, but these are like the average, everyday type of chick that has nothing else to offer, that
Mm-hmm.
wants this high value man. This is the woman that's just like, you know what? I've been trying and ain't nothing happening, and I'm not succeeding. So I need a captain save a hoe. I need a man to
Yeah.
come in, take care of me,
Mm-hmm.
and upgrade my lifestyle. Because
Yeah.
for her, this is the need. But
Mm-hmm.
when you have other women on the flip side and says, hey, I want to build a partnership with you, even though you may be a high value man, that's great. You have the ability to take care of me, then that's great. That's perfect. That's excellent. I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Um, but it's not necessarily like this is my expectation and this is my need for you to come in and save me from the world and save me from the dreams that I'm unable to accomplish. That's a Captain Save a Hoe, and that's a gold digger. That's a gold digger mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the gold digger pretty much looking for a simp to get over on, pretty much. But
Mm-hmm.
I think I do think that at large, it's like women's expectations of men's competency are substantially higher than men's expectations of women. It's like if a man is at the average level, women gonna basically consider him a bum. They not even gonna give him the time of day for real. Like even coming from an average woman, she gonna call him a bum. Oh, he can't do nothing for me, or blase blah, not even realizing he probably on the same level as you. That could be a match right there. Like women, I think a lot of times women
And
end
that's
up
the
like,
Captain Save a Hoe type of chick.
what you mean, like Captain Saberho,
That's the chick that think like, oh,
like
you
she
can't
would
do
save a
nothing.
man.
Huh? No, no, she's the one that's like, oh, you can't do nothing for me because she wants somebody else to give her the bag opposed to her going out to get her own bag.
Right. Okay. But so so in that regard though, so why would a woman then complain about, the fact that she is doing this all her own, or she complains that, oh, it ain't no good men out here, even though she's on the average level herself, then why would she complain about, an average man? Like it's confusion there. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of confusion, because when you pull back all the layers, it's like, okay, just like you said earlier, you know, and this is very evident. Like basically with women, a woman, she can get by or get ahead using her body. That's a luxury that men don't have. Men can't do that. It's not the same. It's not an equal. You know, uh, Again, it's like men have to come to the table with tangibles in order to even get through the door, to date a woman. But women aren't held to that same standard, you know. That's where the double standard comes in. And it's like that is what needs to be changed. I think one thing that would be good, and I would pertain it to women's empowerment, is simply learning to take accountability, self accountability, the same way men are held accountable. Men, especially black men, are held very much accountable every day, by
Mm-hmm.
our performance, what it is we doing, all of that. Where as opposed to women, I think there is a lack of accountability. Us as men, we are held accountable not only by other men, but women as well. So we constantly deal with that. We constantly have to, as they say, level up and do better, and always strive for that. Otherwise, you're gonna be considered a bum. But again, for women, it's not even the same. So it's really, and I also think a part of it is like a sense of entitlement too. I hear a lot of women like saying things, or a lot of people on social media saying things, and it's like they had like this sense of entitlement for whatever reason, like the world owed them something. And it's like, that's not a good attitude to have. You not really going to get to that healthy relationship that you desire with that type of attitude, because you always gonna have that chip on your shoulder. So
Yeah, again, I go back to respect.
yeah,
Um, and for me, like that's just a top priority for me is respect.
no doubt.
You know, it's just like, for me, I meet a man And I instantly go into the whole observation mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to see like how you operate in your own life, in your own environment without me,
Yeah.
right? Because if your life and your career is in chaos, you lack the ability to lead in any type of way. And again, this is taking me out of the equation. But if your life is all over the place and you can't keep your own shit together,
Mm-hmm.
then it's not the amount of money you make, but it's the fact, like, I can't do this. I'm not doing this. I don't operate in chaos, so I'm gonna stay where I'm at, because
Mm-hmm.
now I don't respect you to be able to lead me, to provide for me, because you're coming to the table are crazy, and I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I concur with that absolutely. Coming from a male perspective, it's similar. It's like, okay, for me as a man, if I'm competent enough to provide security, order, stability, and the ability to solve problems in your life as they arise, then I have to ask myself, does the woman I'm courting with or providing this for, does she have the mental dexterity to work with me? Or is she simply going to become or remain a liability? Is she going to be disrespectful, defiant, or fighting, struggling for power, or just unwilling to compromise, and work with me, So yeah, I feel that. It works both ways, and it's, again, like you stated, it's all about respect, you know.
Yeah, give me a boss, I'll fall back. Seriously, but you got to give me a reason to trust that I can fall back comfortably.
Yeah.
Um, if I can't, then I'm gonna probably be a bitch, and that's the truth of the matter, you know.
Hmm.
So again, the hierarchy of needs. The very first level is basic needs.
Hmm. That's
So
food, shelter,
food, shelter. I mean,
water. Hmm.
water, trans. I mean, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So this is the basic necessities of life, man
Hmm.
or woman. If you don't have that basic level, you ain't got no business trying to climb the hierarchy. You have no
Yeah.
business trying to court anybody, trying to be courted, or any of the above. You need to get your basic shit together
No
before
doubt.
you do anything with anybody else. So
Yeah.
this is the whole concept of single and happy, right? So I can actually say, that I can be single and happy. I can be happy. I can do my own thing. I'm able to eat every day. I'm able to bathe. I'm able to get in my car and go to work every day with no issues, right? The
Hmm.
basic necessities of life.
Hmm.
Now, all of the little extra stuff, that's great. But you have to be able to maintain your basic needs. And oftentimes, again, man or woman, you have women that cannot maintain their basic needs, and they're
Hmm.
looking for a man to come in and take care of them because
Yeah.
they believe that pretty privilege exists. But however, it does. Pretty privilege does exist. However, you got to bring a whole lot more to the table other than your look.
Yeah, I agree. You're gonna need more than just the beauty. That just being cute ain't gonna fly all the time. You're gonna need some brains to go with it, or something, something more. And seriously, it's like, that's that's very important. And again, I like that you use the model of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because that is the basic level. And again, that's something that women have to understand. Like, if you are going to be, on that level, you're gonna be like independent pretty much. That's what comes with that. That it's kind of like that base level. Now, I think when you go up one, I want to say that's when you start getting into the security aspect, and it goes a little higher, right? You could probably correct me on that. I'm not I don't recollect exactly, but as you go up, that's when you get into, you know, again, the security aspect, stability and the companionship, being able to work with other people, that's the relationship stuff right there. So for anybody who pretty much chooses to remain, at that level, singleness, or however you want to put it, that's something you got to take into consideration too. If it's just you, if you just holding it down by yourself, then that's what it's going to be. You may or may not, rise up to that level, because that's what you choose not to do, then that's your choice. It's just interesting. I feel like it's a big misconception as well when women say they don't need a man, or they X the man like all the way out the picture. And I believe that those type of responses are behavioral. It's pretty much, things that they may have went through in the past, certain trauma. We all have some level of trauma, especially as of recently. A lot of people, we going through these stages of mental torment, dealing
Mhm.
with what we've been dealing with the past few years at large. But I definitely, I believe in, companionship. I love to see healthy relationships. We've all had the experience, ups and downs, that come with it, but it's definitely important as well, like you said, doing the self-care and things of that nature when you are single, to take advantage of that time and find out, okay, am I comfortable with myself? Am I secure enough with myself, to be able to move around and function without having a chip on my shoulder, or always being in this bitter type of attitude, because of my past experiences. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that is what I would say is empowering to oneself. In women and men, that's empowering when you can get to a point where you can ask yourself, or you can say to yourself, that I am confident and I am comfortable in my own skin. I'm not insecure. You know what I'm saying? And again, at that point, you will start attracting, that significant other or that partner inadvertently at that point. But I definitely think it's when I hear women say, "Oh, I don't need a man," or "I don't want a man," like, I have to. It kind of makes me think, like, well, what this woman went through. You know what I'm saying? She might have had a tough experience or a harsh life experience or something like that for her to say that.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, that's true. When women get to the point where they don't want to need a man,
hmm
it's um family dynamics. What do you see in your family?
yeah,
What do you observe? What was your upbringing?
yeah,
Trauma. It is like like women been hurt so many times,
hmm
and you're just kind of at the point where it's just like, nope, I'm straight.
yeah,
I'm straight on relationships. I'm straight on you. I don't want to do this anymore. But oftentimes is, on one hand, that's good to be in that space, but when you're in that space, you have to allow yourself to work on you and
right,
okay, and start to reevaluate your relationships. Because I'm gonna
hmm
be honest, I've had decent relationships, that just kind of with the shits, you know,
hmm
and oftentimes it's just like, okay, they may not be bad people, it was just bad timing, bad
hmm
situation. um Knowing your boundaries, knowing your standards, knowing what it is that you want, again, because you talked about those expectations. I
yeah,
do want to go back to Maslow because I did just pull it up. So
okay,
the very first level, it's basic, it's your basic needs: breathing, food, water, sleep, right?
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
then you move up a level and you have security,
Right.
employment, resources,
Right.
family, health, property, right?
Right. Right.
Then once you obtain that, you can say, okay, you know what, maybe I want to boo, you know. So when you're talking about, the whole idea of um the balance, growing together, evolving together, and stuff like that. And it does kind of hit on Maslow with the safety and security. Again, you need to be independent by yourself. So like if I choose to say, you know what, I'm dating someone, we want to take this to the next level, we want to move in together, not because I can't financially afford to live by myself, because that's a mistake, or he can't financially afford to live by himself, so we're gonna live together to save money on bills or anything like that. No, I don't agree with that. When you like actually moving to the next level in your relationship, it means that you have gotten to the place where you want to actually build on something, you know
Mm-hmm.
and for me, I would think like that would be more authentic, because it's not so much of a need, because at this point it's a want. I want to be with you every day. It's not that I need to be with you every day because I'm barely living check to check, or I'm making less than minimum wage. Right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
need I need to be here in order to maintain level one,
Yeah.
food, shelter. Like
Yeah.
that's a no no.
But see, that's where, but that's what I'm saying though. That's where I would have to interject because,
Okay.
okay, the hierarchy is a hierarchy of needs. And
Mhm.
again, like we just touched on, okay, the basic level: food, shelter, water. Okay, yeah, a woman can get by her whole life covering those basics if she want to on her own. But when you get to the second level, again, that's where the relationship is, because like you stated, family, security, stability, the things that you would need a man for to create. A man and a woman will have to come together to create a family. A woman naturally will seek out security and stability from a man. Not saying that men don't want stability too, because yeah, we want stability too, but that's a joint effort right there. That's where the family and the companionship comes into. So again, if that's actually what you need, and that's what you need, well, that's what it's going to take. You can't really, you shouldn't X the man out of the equation at that point just because you know you that's how you feeling at the current time, or that's what you saying. You may say that, but again, one has to understand the difference in the definition of a want versus a need. You see what I'm saying? And again, I think it's very important to take the accountability and not spew out the traumatic behaviors to other people. Like, we older men or older women, whatever, or especially when it comes to women, because I know we talking about women's empowerment and whatnot, but this
Mhm.
is something like that our women, especially black women, should learn, like that accountability, because really, look, and I'm sure some women, like women go through these age periods, younger periods, where they pretty much blowing off their prime years,
Mhm.
being on some thirsty stuff. It's just like we talked about before, like in your interview, you said like women have to stop being thirsty. And I
Mhm.
really, like, that really stuck. And I agree, because again, you go through like the younger ages, kind of blowing off your prime years, the years you supposed to be, those are the years that you really supposed to be focused and, in that, in the mind of trying to find, or, attracting that companionship and being at your best, but they get blew off, being on some thotty, thirsty type stuff. And then when they get an upper age and it's like, now they demanding more. Now you demanding more from a man. You want more than you ever did before, not even realizing that, you pretty much squandering your prime time, when a man would want to take care of you and you are able to work together and things of that nature. So I just feel like it's definitely a level of accountability has to be taken, starting on that base level. I would say to women, if Mr. Average at this point, if Mr. Average making an offer, Miss Average should, make a realistic consideration for that. Cause that could be, again, that could be an opportunity for that companionship and growing together with somebody, that you on the level on, and becoming better with somebody and building something out of that,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where again you get to that second level and you can go higher, because when you covering all those basic needs, you got all the basic stuff out the way. Now you can start getting creative. You start getting creative, and that's where your passion, you start to realize your passion, and you can build these things that you've always wanted and have everything that have always wanted. But again, if that's what she actually needs and understands that that's what she needs, or if that's not what she actually wants, then hey, it ain't gonna be much room to complain. If that's not what you want, or if you're not willing to, at that point, then hey, then be single and happy, be independent. But don't waste your breath complaining, because you just gonna be blowing out hot air at that point if that's not what you really want.
I
you
get
know
it, but I still think, that there's the difference in the need and the want, and to be able to determine, what that is, like for instance, I mean, I'm gonna just like throw out a little metaphor, like I need to eat every day, right?
Yeah, we all do.
I need to eat every day, but I want to get my nails done every
Yeah.
2 weeks, right? So there's a difference,
Yeah.
So when I talk about, like building in partnerships and like going to that next level, it means that I want to be with you because I care, because I love you, and I want this relationship. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to move from where I'm at because rent paid. I'm good, right? I don't need to do that. You
Hmm.
know, I don't need to make an adjustment to my entire lifestyle because I cannot hold me down. I make an adjustment to my lifestyle because I want to, because I want to be with you.
Hmm.
Not because
But
I have to.
a man can make it a lot easier for you though.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
I never said he couldn't. I just what I said was I don't have to.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you. Yeah, yep, yep. You don't have to, but again, yeah, you know, I would encourage that, for women as far as empowerment goes. Just sometimes, and this is something that men have to do as well. Sometimes we got to let the pride go, and take that accountability, take that self accountability, and try not to pass that trauma that you've experienced down to the next generation. They deserve a chance to come up and have a happy life too. We can't, as they say, you can't take it all with you, but it's important to strive for, happiness and getting what you want, but at the same time, it's like we gotta get rid of the toxic stuff. Don't pass that down to the next generation. They don't deserve that, you
No,
know.
not at all.
um,
But unfortunately, Kevin, we are out of time. So
yeah, man.
again,
Fire. That was a fast hour right there.
I know, right? I want to do 2 hours, but I need to save some
Man,
for
for
the next
sure.
round. So let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So Mirror Image Media. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We got a lot of good content out there. Shout out to you, Miss Ivy Nicole. You know, you came through the studio, Mirror Image Studios. It's a fire interview on there, y'all. Y'all definitely got to check that out. Hit us up, mimedia5173 at gmail.com. You can send us an email, if you got any suggestions or input, but that's where you can find us. Again, it's an honor and a pleasure. I appreciate the invite as always. It's a fire conversation. And we want to do our best to, empower our people as a whole, bring back that black man and black woman, that unity, and the function, the functionality of that. We bringing that back.
Okay, I'm open.
For sure. For sure. We got to do it. We got to do it,
Okay.
for the next generation. We ain't going to be here forever. So this is Mirror Image Media is our initiative towards that. So yeah, check out brothers and sisters for sure.
Tell them about you on where I am Detroit on, is it Mondays?
Yeah. Y'all can catch me as well on I Am Detroit Radio, 1440 AM on every Monday, pretty much. Shout out to the whole Church of the Messiah, Pastor Barry, everybody over there. It's great. We have Brotherhood Talk on Mondays. Shout out to my bro Ralph. Shout out to the other guys as well, man. DP Rins, we see y'all, bro. Yeah, we out here, man. We definitely taking the initiative, sort of similar to She Evolves, but we doing it for the brothers. That's where we initiated Brotherhood Talk, because we talking about empowerment for black men in particular. It's not just limited to us, but we put the emphasis on that for black men to step up and be better leaders, because that's definitely what we called to do. So that's what we doing.
All right, sweet. So everybody, again, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's Ivy Nicole, Nichooe. Y'all, please don't forget the H. And there's no E in my first name. It's just straight up IBY. It's Ivy Nicole across all social media platforms. So if you just Google Ivy Nicole, you will find me. And I will be back next week again, touching on Women's History Month, just celebrating the evolution of women across the globe. I'm very excited. International Women's Day is coming up. So, I already got my outfit, my t-shirt ready for that. So, again, it's all about empowering each other, making sure that we actually go to the next level. And again, Kevin, I know we're out of time, but it's one thing where, I've often realized that um, when we talk about breaking generational curses, it's not all about the bag either. It's sometimes about, hey, are you the first in your family to have a family? Um,
Mm.
so
Mm-hmm.
again, that's very important to break that generational curse as well. And that is
For
about
sure.
empowering, because guess what? Being a baby mama is not cute. Get,
Say.
get the ring if you
Mm-hmm.
if you reproducing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's beyond just reproducing, that's for sure. And
Yeah.
again, given whatever it is we are reproducing, giving them a fighting chance to take it to the next level, to take it even higher than we took it, so our legacy will live on.
You know, uh-uh.
Yeah.
It's an epic fail. Don't be the baby
Yeah.
mama.
Yeah. We got a lot of work to do.
Don't be the baby mama. That's my advice. Do not, do not be her.
Right.
Get the ring
For
and break
real.
the generational curse.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
All
Yeah. Shout
right.
out to all the ladies out there, all the sisters. Keep doing y'all thing. Let's get smart. It's cool to be smart, y'all. It's cool to be smart. That's for the brothers too.
All right, y'all. We out. I'll be back next week.
Peace.